All right. Hey, folks. So you guys are joining me for an arm session at the new gym. Very excited, by the way. Very excited. So I did promise you an arm day as the next training session, and this is going to talk you through what I did today. Now, I'm going to resort to voiceovers from now on, I think, because the music is a little bit loud in this gym, but that's fine. I can voice over retrospectively. So, first exercise was a hoist seated bicep curl. Now, really good machine, really smooth, double handle. And what I'm looking for in my first exercise of the day is something where I can grab a hold of the weight one arm at a time. So either something like an alternate dumbbell curl, a Bayesian curl, but this was perfect. It just hit the spot. I will say it was probably more of an contraction and just mid-length exercise. You couldn't really get a good stretch on this, but that's okay. For the first exercise, I'm not too concerned. And the machine itself was absolutely smooth. The only thing about it is you do feel a bit like a child riding a playground ride, because I don't know if you can spot, but the machine moves when you're lifting the weight. So you lift the weight up and the seat flies backwards. It's just part of the way things are done with this brand of equipment. But it's a really nice piece of equipment. It's very good. So the plan for today was to hit about 6 sets of biceps alongside 6 sets of triceps. I try to hit the biceps and triceps from different angles as I lift. So this is just to kickstart things nice and heavy, making sure each arm is moving independently and just really hit the belly of the muscle. I want to kick off just a nice big basic exercise. I'm not necessarily looking for a stretch and a squeeze right now. I'm just looking to hit the belly of the muscle. So that is almost always the first thing I kick off with. Now, with triceps, they've got about 4 different dip machines. And I'm quite a big fan of dip machines. Not a huge fan of weighted dips for the triceps. I think weighted dips are a great exercise for the entire upper body and for the chest. But for the triceps, the dip machine reigns supreme. So this was the one I felt which was the most comfortable. The seat is sort of leaning forward so you can kind of leverage yourself inside it. And again, this is another one of those where it really hits the belly of the muscle. And also I'd say the contraction as well. So we haven't got onto any sort of stretch parts yet, but already my bis, my tris were feeling very pumped, and I could feel the muscle come alive. You guys know what I mean by that? You know, when you contract it and you're like, oh yeah, I fucking feel it. But yeah, these machines are just so well put together. They're all big brands, sort of Nautilus and Hammer and Atlantis and all kinds of them. They're very, very intelligently put together machines. I think, in fact, that's the biggest difference between coming from a regular commercial gym to a bodybuilding gym. The thought that goes into the manufacturers of some of these equipments is just incredible. They're all just so smooth. So bis and tris, 2 sets each, done. Move back to bis now. This is the hammer strength preacher curl. The nice thing about this is it's weighted towards the bottom on purpose, I imagine. As you get to the top, you see the fulcrum there at the bottom. The fulcrum means you're getting a little bit less resistance at the top, you're getting more at the bottom. It's just so nicely done. I mean, if you think about it, that's what you want out of a preacher curl. You want stress in the lengthened position. And that's exactly what the machine biases. I mean, how clever is that? Really, though, really. I mean, just fascinating. You know, I find it interesting anyway. I don't know about you guys. But while I was warming up, I just thought, wow, it's such a clever design. You get a really, really good, you get a lot more weight in the stretch position, and then it gets a little bit easier towards the top. But just really good. And also just fits your body really nicely. This was obviously the thumbnail, the thumbnail set. You guys know what it's like. You got to do it. But yeah, did a second set of this as well. Really enjoyed this machine. Definitely going to use it again. In terms of the sets and reps, sets I've already gone over. So today was 6 sets each. Now, what that means is I need to take things to failure and maybe even beyond. So I definitely want to fail. I maybe want to do a couple of partials, whatever, but I definitely want to fail. And there's nothing wrong necessarily with not going to failure. If you are going to do that, then you need to compensate with more volume. Look at that guy. He's admiring. He knows. He wants to be in the thumbnail. Bless him. But anyway, so yeah, so if you're doing less sets, less volume, you kind of got to make it up with intensity. That's the general idea. So at the moment, that's the kick I'm on. And I was going to do a video about this at some point, just talking about intensity versus volume and how I think personally both approaches work fine. If you're emphasizing more volume and staying away from failure, or if you're emphasizing failure and doing less volume, both work. At the moment, I'm really enjoying this approach. It's kind of old school for me, getting back to my roots. But equally speaking, if you have the time to make the volume work approach, then that's also a viable alternative. I just think there are some issues with that approach, which I'll cover in a different video. But anyway, I also like to do something overhead, so I'm getting a decent stretch on the tricep. Now, luckily, this gym has an overhead tricep machine, which I really like. Now, in a pinch, if I don't have access to one of these, I can use a cable extension. But this is my preferred one. This lad, by the way, met him today for the first time. Really nice guy. He's competing soon in about 9 weeks, so we kind of had a bit of a chat and banter and spotted each other. So that was pretty cool. Nice to meet new people. So yeah, second exercise there for the triceps. Now, third exercise for the biceps. I tend to like doing something single leg or single arm for every body part. It's kind of a standard thing for me now. And I honestly think it's a pretty sensible choice. I think at least one exercise per body part should be single arm, if you can fit it in. I'd also say if you're advanced enough to warrant it, simply because at least you're addressing the imbalance. Like for me, my left arm is weaker, my right arm is stronger. So what I'll do is I'll do as many reps as I can to my left arm, take it right the way to failure, getting maximum stimulus for my weaker arm, and then my stronger arm, I will just match the reps. So it's not going all the way, right? And last exercise of the day was a couple of sets on the single arm cable push down. So far today, what we have done is we've hit 6 sets to failure on bis and tris. I've also attempted to maximize the angles. I've also attempted to maximize or vary where I'm hitting the muscle too, either in the belly or in the stretch position or in the contract position. I personally feel you need everything. You need every tool in the arsenal. I'm not one to just bias the stretch. I also think you need some heavy work in there, and you need some contraction work in there as well. I think you need everything. I certainly do anyway. So, and as well as that, I try and emphasize some single arm work. So really what looks like just a random selection of exercises is relatively well thought out. Did a bit of posing in the posing room afterwards. I like doing a most muscular with an arm pump. It feels good. So that was pretty cool. And here is a bit of a topless Faz. A little bit leaner than I was 6 months ago, but very, very big. I like this look. This look is my preferred look. This is how I like to walk around. Just big, thick, and powerful. But yeah, this was taken this morning. Right, folks, I'm going to call it there. And I will speak to you in the next one. Probably a leg video.